How are you, dear listeners? Students, form students, form for college students, university students, literature teachers, tutorials, and lecturers. Listen the play analysis, The Trials of Jero, written by Wole Soyinka in 1964. And the setting of this play, located in Nigeria after independence. This play used in Tanzania in teaching and learning materials, especially in literature and English subjects. My name is Teacher Kaligo Dotto Njige, or Teacher Kadonj, the mind of literature, the young African writer. From Shinyanga region, Nindo, the Absal Ward, Mwajiji village. The Trials of Jero is a play by Nigerian writer Wole Soyinka. It was first produced in dining hall at Milan by Wole University College, Ibadan, Nigeria in April 1960. The play was first published in Nigeria in 1963 and by Oxford University Press in 1964. The Trials of Jero is a light, satirical comedy that takes aim at religious hypocrisy in the form of Karatan or Cloud, named Jero, who preaches to his followers on Bar Beach in Lagos, Nigeria. Jero is a master of manipulation and keeps his followers in subservient and position because he understands what they long for man's social status and power, and convinces them that they will soon be able to fulfill this materialistic desire. For their part, they are gullible enough to believe him. Dear listeners, let us look the plot summary of this play, The Trials of Jero. The play is divided into 5 scenes that communicate the playwright's message. Scene 1. The scene breaks the monologue from Jero, in which he introduces himself as a prophet by birth and by inclination. He also tells the audience that there are many prophets of his kind in the cities. Many with them own churches, others in land and others on the coast. There are prophets who are leading processions while others are looking for processions to lead. Many curing the deaf, many rising the deaf and dead. He says that he was born a prophet and he had grown to love the trade. He says that many prophets now are competing for plots of land at the beach where to erect their churches. This has turned the processions into a scene of ridicule. He also says that some prophets gain their pleasant beaches by getting women penitents to shake their bosoms in spiritual ecstasy. As a result, it reached a point where the town council had to intervene and divided the land among the prophets and settled the prophets' territorial welfare. He tells how he betrayed his old master by pretending to help him to get a plot of land, but he ended up possessing the land himself. He blames the television for keeping the wealthier patrons at home. Since they stay at home and watching the TV instead of going for worship, he had to struggle for a plot of land against other church groups, such as the Brotherhood of Jero, Cherubims and Seraphims, the Sister of Judgment Day, the Heathen Cowboys, and Jehovah Jehovah his witness, the old prophet appeared and accuses Brother Jero for driving him off high plot of land and says, "A great monster accuse you, who is accused of the daughter of discord. May they be your downfall. May the daughter of ever bring land down on your head." Brother Jero ignores the accuse, and they call it a cheap accuse. He admits that he has one weakness, and that is women. However, he says that women love him because he is good looking. Let us look scene 2. Early in the morning in front of Brother Jero's house. The scene breaks with a mope and a chume on a bike, and they break at Brother Jero's house. The sudden breaking cues the cause of Miller injury and a mope's echo, and she complains a lot for that. Chume unties the bundle he had tied on his bike and places them down. Amope has taken out the kitchen and takes the required to prepare the meal, plus a mat, and goes to camp in front of Brother Jero's house. After unloading everything, Chume wants to leave, saying that he's late for work. Amope wonders the Chume is just a chief messenger in the local government office, and they call it is a job. What his old school friends are now minister, riding a long cab. Chume decides to leave. She wishes he would find another thing so that she may not go to her grave as the wife of a chief messenger. Brother Jero is about to get out, but he notices the presence of Amope. He wants to escape through the window, but she sees him and asks, "Where do you think you are going?" He comes back to the house. Amope says that it has been 3 months and Jero has not paid her man the sum of £1, 8 shillings and 9 pence, and she wonders that he calls himself a man of God. She insists that he won't go anywhere until he has paid the debt. Brother Jero cheats her that the man is not in the house. He has to get it from the post office and pay her. A fish trader comes and Amope asks her to put down her trade so that she may buy. She says that the fish smell a bit. The trader tells her that it is her who has not bathed for a week. They exchange in search, and the trader carries his load and walks away. She turns and finds Brother Jero escaping through the window. She shouts at him, calling him a thief. She assures him that he will find it easier to get out of his house than to get in, or else her name is not Amope. A boy coming towards her beats the drum, and Amope chases him away, calling him a dead beggar. Let us look scene 3. At the beach, Brother Jero is standing near his church, wondering how Amope managed to find his house. He says that he bought the velvet not because it is a luxury thing, but because it would help to distinguish himself from others, and finally they will start calling him the velvet-headed Jeroboam. Immaculate Jero, articulate, heel of Christi, classic. This is his ambition. He says that he does so because one must have a name that appeals to the imagination of the spirit and much catch the imagination of clouds. He says that one must move with the modern times because lack of color gets one nowhere, even in the prophet's business. He accuses Amope for making him uncomfortable and says the price is too high for that cape. He is glad to get there before his worshippers, whom he calls customers. He admits that he keeps them dissatisfied so that they may keep going to him. That is the reason he does not allow Chume to beat his wife, so that he may not be contented and go forever. A young girl who has been swimming passes with clean, wet, and shiny face and hair. Brother Jero follows her with his eyes, then tells himself, "Play, Brother Jero, boy. Play for strength against temptation." Switch on page 11. Chume enters and they ask him to play with and for him against the weakness. They start praying together. Chume seems to have something bothering him because he has come earlier than usual. As he starts meditating, Brother Jero says that his worshippers believe that he has no house and he sleeps at the beach. When Chume finishes his meditation, he suddenly asks for permission to beat his wife. Just one sound beating. Brother Jero says it is against the will of God. He tells Chume how he prophesied for him different positions they came true, and now he has prophesied that he will be a chief clerk. Chume continues to insist about the beating Jero, commands him to kneel down for a prayer. Jero tells Chume that this woman is his clothes and he has to bear it and play for strength. As the worshippers have arrived and Brother Jero leaves them chatting, he talks about a man that he has prophesied that he will be made a chief in his house town. For example, for another, he prophesied that he will be the first prime minister of the new mid-northeast state. When it is created, he said that it is a risk prophet, but he made it because he badly needed worshippers around that time. Finally, he managed to convince Chume not to beat his wife, and he agrees. He sent Chume to bring water. Then a boy enters beating the drum and the women chasing her. Her head pulled so high up that half the length of her seat is exposed. Jeroboam for the women's exposed limbs with quiet, distressed concentration. Brother Jero leaves the dirt to Chume and follows them. Meanwhile, the women detached from the crowd shouting, "H." Chume calls Brother Jero to come back, but is nowhere to be seen. He starts the minister, the penitent. He prays forgiveness while the congregation responds, "Amen." Then Chume prays for good life and promotion. He says, for instance, those who are clerk today should be made chief clerk, messenger into senior service, pet trader into big contractors, those with bicycle to ride the cars. Prophet Jero appears a much-altered man with his clothes torn and his face bleeding, asking his assistant, Brother Chume, to dismiss the congregation. In the discussions, it was revealed to the reader or audience that it was Brother Chume's wife that Prophet Jero had an unpleasant encounter with that morning. Brother Chume reported the way he escorted his wife to a jet settlement to the poor man's house. Oblivious, Jero was actual the man the wife had forced him to carry her to his place to correct the man she was owed. After hearing that, Brother Jero discovered that the woman is Chume's wife. It was also revealed that initially the prophet was not aware that woman was Brother Chume's wife. Paradoxical, the prophet's advice changed from prayer and forgiveness to the punishment and the use of which. As soon as Jero realized who Chume's wife was, he allowed him to go and take his wife home and beat her secretly. Before he leaves, Jero tells him that the Son of God appeared to him and gave him a new title, Immaculate Jero, articulate heel of Christ clasped. Let us look scene 4. Later, the same day, in front of Brother Jero's house, Chume goes to his wife and is given the food. He orders his wife to pack up her things ready to leave for home. Amope thinks the man is drunk because he came earlier than usual. Chume insists on going home, but Amope refuses that he won't leave until she gets her man. Jero enters and hides to observe them. Amope says the amount her debtor owing her is much more than his messenger paid. She tells him that he had better become a Santa inspector than a messenger. She advises him to take a job that has high pay, at least chance for bribe. She mocks him that he does not drink or smoke or take bribes, but is still poor. Chume threatens to beat her, saying his period of abstinence and trial is over. He commands her to get on the bike. She refuses and learns to beat. The boer asks her to be let in. As she cries for help, she says that the husband must kill her first before he ties her onto the bike. She asks Brother Jero to accuse her husband and she will forgive him his debt. Chume overhears it and asks her to keep quiet so that she may explain to him whether it is Brother Jero who owes her the man. She continues to shout the words, "Kill me." He turns to nearest neighbor who confirmed that was Brother Jero's house. Chume discovers the hypocrisy of Brother Jero and they know that it is for that reason he allowed him to beat his wife. For his own convenience, Chume leaves her alone and takes his bike, ordering her to wait till they return. Amope is surprised whether her husband is mad. Let us look scene 5, night 4 at the beach. The scene talks about a member of the fiddler house who has come to rehearse his speech practice. He's a backbencher, but with one eye on a minister's post. He remembers Chume and says that he might have lost him because by giving him permission to beat his wife is now fulfilled and they would not come back to him. However, he sees it as a good price he paid to get rid of Amope. He then goes to the member of the house and tries to profess for him. At first, the minister seemed to be aware of this gullibility, but later when he is told that he would be appointed as a minister for war, he softened his heart. Brother Jero sees that opportunity and tells him that he is seeing Satan in the MP's eyes. So the member grows fearful and raises his arm in half supplication. Chume comes agitated, talking to himself, wondering that for 2 years Brother Jero had prohibited him to beat his wife, claiming it was against the will of God. But today he granted the permission. He laments also after discovering that Jero has a house, and he cheated his followers that he sleep at the beach. Chume suspects that may be Amope and Brother Jero have a private relationship. She pretends to come at his door, demanding the man. But when the night falls, she gets in and they make love. He blames God that what has he done for God to spoil his life that much. Chume leaves. When the prophet cries for the empty, Chume comes back, abusing Brother Jero, calling him adulterer, women thief, and threaten to finish him. Brother Jero flies, leaving the MP alone. When the MP discovers that the prophet has disappeared, he thinks that he has been transported what was muted, and he said to himself, and knew I stood in the presence of God. Section page 32. Jero is happy because he has managed to fool him. He hopes that he will go and tell it to others. The member thinks that he is on the whole ground and takes off his shoes. Brother Jero watches as he is about to sleep so that he may appear and make the member believe that he fell from heaven. When the member see him, he falls flat on his face and call him Master. Dear listeners, that is the broad summary of the play, The Trials of Brother Jero. Let us look the title of the play. The word trials in this play is used to mean temptations. In other words, it is talking about the temptations of different dimensions that Brother Jero faces in his ministry as a prophet. The title of the play is relevant to its content as the playwright has discussed several trials befalling our main character, the protagonist, Brother Jeroboam. The temptation he gets are from women and from his minister. Brother Jero, his greatest weakness, as he admitted in scene 1, he knows very well that I had one weakness, women. Page 3, you may look. The first temptation is from a girl who passes every morning on her way to take a swim. A girl passes sleepily in front of him, clothed only a leper, going to take a swim. When she comes back, she is clean, wet, with shiny face and hair. Brother Jero follows her with his eyes all the way. Then he tells himself, please, Brother Jero, pray for strength against temptation. Page 11. The second trial is from the women chasing the drummer boy. Her leper was put so high that half the length high is exposed. Brother Jero again followed the women's exposed limbs with quiet distressed concentration, and he comes suddenly to himself and kneeled sharply. Page 17. Another trial comes from his assistant Chume, who asks for permission to beat his wife. Brother Jero finds it is difficult to allow Chume to beat his wife and tells him it is against the will of God. He encouraged Chume to bear it as a clause telling him that she was his trial sent from heaven. She is your heaven sent trials. Lay not your hands on her. Page 15. He also faced another trial. He also faced trials from the prophecies he gives to people. He is careful to tell probability of coming true so that they may continue believing in him. For example, he says he prophesied that one man will be made a chief in his hometown. He says that is a very safe prophet, as safe as out most popular prophets, that a man will live to be 80. If it does not come true, page 15, when he is in need of customer, he tells even impossible prophecies. For instance, he tells one man that he will be the first prime minister of the new mid-northeast state. When it is created, then he admits that was a risky prophet of mine, but I badly needed more worshiper around that time. Page 16. Let us look at the setting of the play, The Trials of Brother Jero. The play is set back in the 1960s, but it is very relevant to the contemporary social, political, and religious situation in Nigeria and the other African countries in general. There are also subsetting settings. The action, the scene of the play. Setting number 1, at beach. The beach is used as a place where most prophets have elected their churches and serve for custom, but also it is the same place that puts the protagonist into temptation, since women who go there for swimming with swimming attires have been a temptation to the prophet, hence the trials of Brother Jero. Setting number 2, in front of Brother Jero's house. Other events are taking place in front of Brother Jero's house, such as Amope's conflict with the fish trader, Amope's conflict with her husband, and Amope's conflict with Brother Jero. It is this same thing that gives awareness to Chume, who was once ignorant and blind follower and assistant of Brother Jero. He comes to discover that the man he has trusted ever is a liar and a hypocrite because he has a house but a claim to sleep at the beach. Also, he discovers that the permission he got to punish beat his wife was a carefully planned to make Brother Jero to get rid Kreda, who is actually his own wife. Let us look at the style used in this play, The Trials of Brother Jero. The playwright has employed different style or technique in his play. The first style, the use of dialogue. The play is written in a dialogue style is expected to end play. What is important here is that in a play, characters use language pragmatically, as in real life, unlike in other things like prose or narrative poetry, where the persona is the narrator talking about himself or others. Another style or technique, the use of monologue or soliloquy. The play begins with a monologue in which Brother Jero addresses the audience directly, introducing himself as a prophet from the base. Another technique or style, the use of aside. In most cases, Brother Jero uses aside, in which cases he addresses the audience directly and goes back to play his part. For example, when he sees a member of Federal House, he says now he is already a member of my fold. He does not know if it, of course, but his followers, all I need to do is claim him, call him and say to him, my dear member of the house, your place awaits you, or do you doubt it? Watch me go to work on him. Page 29. This was a direct address to the audience. Another technique or style, the use of point of view. The dominant point of view through the story is told is first-person point of view. The story unfolds almost entirely through the eyes and the words of the main character, Brother Jero, who ever now and then takes himself aside and tells the audience what they should expect to see in the subsequent scene. He starts with introducing himself as a prophet by birth and by inclination. Page 1. Let us look language use in this play, The Trials of Brother Jero, or figures of speech. It has been argued by some art critics that perhaps The Trials of Brother Jero is the only popular comedy by Wole Soyinka that has used a simple language of the masses, or sober. 2014. He has also made use of idiosyncratic variation, perhaps to stress a point of the ignorance and the awareness within one person. Chume speaks standard English when he converses with his wife, but when he talks to Brother Jero, he speaks pidgin English. This might have been done deliberately to show that the linguistic variation within the same person signifies his state of awareness when he is at home and ignorance. When he is at the church, that is perhaps why when he finally discovers the truth about his prophet, he says, for 2 years No, let me beat that woman. Why? No, because God no like that one no fool me anymore. He no be man of God. Page 31. Several figures of speech has also been employed not only to call the work but also to help Soyinka communicate his message across. Number 1, symbolism. The playwright has used his character symbolically to represent the main type of people we have in our contemporary society. Brother Jero, the protagonist, tend to represent all the false and the corrupt prophet emerging in the African continent with the aims of exploiting the ignorant masses. Chume, the antagonist, represents those faithful and ignorant masses that are exploited by the prophets just as customers. They make the prophets richer and richer, but they remain poorer and poorer. Amope tend to represent those few who are aware of the fact that these prophets are false prophets that untrustworthy. Thus, she represents the exploited individuals in the society who are enlightened, have come to realize the real man behind the mask and cannot be easier deceived. The daughter of discord, or daughters of evil, are used to represent all dishonest and unfaithful women who learn men's lives and bring their downfall. The velvet cape has been used not only as a symbol of wealth exploited from the masses by the prophet, but also as a mask behind which the prophet has camouflaged himself to hide his real identity. Brother Jero's house is a symbol of the wealth robbed from the ignorant worshippers and stored secretly. The prophet presents himself as a poor and humble man of God who has nowhere to sleep except the beach, while in the fact he has every nice house at the Ajete settlement. Chume's basket, this is used as a symbol of poverty in the play. Those rich guys drive cars, but the poor, like Chume, can only afford the basket. The television. In this place, the television is used as a symbol of spiritual hypocrisy. The rich people, whom Jero referred to as our wealthier patrons, are symbolized by the television, which the worshippers, being worldly, stay at home and watch instead of attending the church service. These are Nicodemus Christians because they go for consultation at a time that they wouldn't. It is long to visit such place. This is hypocrisy. Number 2, figures of speech. Iron. There is a dramatical iron. Brother Jero portrayed ironically. The playwright has used a dramatical iron, in which case the audience and some characters like Amope are aware of the real Brother Jero, but others in the play have no idea of his real identity. This is done purposely to create suspense and make the readers long to see what humans will do after discovering the real man behind the mask. Verb iron. The word heathen, cowboys, are also used ironically because a cowboy is someone who does their jobs badly or one who is dishonest in business, taking into consideration the heathen atmosphere. We don't expect the word heathen, cowboy, to be used to refer to the heathen pig. Another figure of speech, number 3, satire. The playwright mocked the Christian religion, whose play is a satire to the Christian church, and show that from a past symbolized by old prophet to present symbolized by Jero, and even the future symbolized by Chume, and the false prophet who practice Christian charlatanism have not changed. We can say that there is a lack of seriousness in Jero's church, this leader and his worshippers. Soyinka mocks the names of the church. The names are not only fun, but they portray the hypocritical outlook as well. For instance, if we consider the name like heathen cowboy for the church, we see the satire involved in a much more vivid sense by laying the word heathen and cowboy side by side. He's not only creating an oxymoron with the meaning heathen, dishonest, and irresponsible people, but he's also making a discrimination of the local church, and the corruption has gone on in it. Also, the name of other churches such as the Brotherhood of Jero, the cherubims and seraphims do not reflect the expected godliness. Prophet Jero in the biblical edition whipped away evil from Israel. Cherubims and seraphims refer to the angels who are sweet and innocent, doing only the will of God. But the activity of these churches spread evils among God's people, showing their ugliness, ungodliness, and lack of genuineness. The name, the Feast of Judgment Day, does not reflect heathen-minded people meditating on the great Judgment Day as it is sought to be. It is rather described as the shakers of bosom in the churches, considering that the word sister refers to the female. Thus they are causing immorality in the Church of God, and Soyinka warned them about the terrible fate that awaits them on the Judgment Day. Another figure of speech, metaphor. An example of metaphor, and I grow to love the trade. Prophet ministry is compared to a trade, shown page 1. Another metaphor, I'm glad I got here before my customers. I mean worshippers. Well, customers, if you like. Page 11. Worshippers are compared to customers. Another metaphor, tear this love for the daughter of Eve. Page 11. 12. Page 12. He calls the women the daughter of Eve. Another metaphor, my love is hell. Page 14. He compares his life with hell. Another metaphor, these women whom you so desire to beat is your cross bear it well. Page 15. He compares his wife with a cross. Another metaphor, he is your heathen sent trial. Page 15. He refers to the mope as a trial. Another metaphor, women are plague blood. Page 20. Women are compared to a plague. Another metaphor, poor fish, he refers to the member of the federal house as a poor fish. Page 29. Another figure of speech, reiteration. Example, help him, Lord. Help him, Lord. Page 12. Another example, David, Samuel. Page 12. Another reiteration, help him, I'm God. Page 12. Another reiteration, Job, Elijah. Page 12. Another reiteration, a blacker. Page 12. Another reiteration, Hebla. Page 12. Another reiteration, all they gave me was abuse. Page 15. Another figure of speech, saying. Example, in fact, there are eggs and there are eggs. Page 1. Another figure of speech, personification. Example, no scandal has ever touched my name. Page 3. Another figure of speech, synesthesia. Example, I have not blessed it to a single soul. Page 20. Page 10. So here scandal for a person. So here stands for a person. Another figure of speech, metonym. Example, no scandal has ever touched my name. Page 3. Name here refer to Jero's reputation. Another figures of speech, allusion. There are biblical allusions that are used in the play to place the play in its lead context. The brotherhood of Jero, the cherubim, the seraphims, the sister of Judgment Day, the heathen cowboy, page 2. Another allusion, this woman whom you so desire to beat is your clothes bear, it will, page 15. Another allusion, this is whole ground, take off his shoes and sit, page 32. Another figures of speech, hyperbole. Example, I think I see Satan in your eyes. I see him entrenched in your eyes, page 30. Dear listener, let us look characters and characterization portrayed by Wole Soyinka in his play, The Trials of Brother Jero. The first character, Brother Jero. He is the protagonist. He is the main character portrayed as a character who attempts to achieve his ambition as an important and distinctive prophet by appearing immaculate in velvet cape, which he had not yet paid for and accurate in profit. He is a fake prophet. Brother Jeroboam is a self-professed man of God who preach water but drink wine. He is a fake prophet, but he has managed to convince a group of people that he is a God's prophet with divine powers to help them fulfill their dreams. He is a corrupt. As a religious leader, Brother Jero turns out to be what we don't expect of a man of God. He runs after women. He buys the velvet cape from Amope on credit, but refuses to pay her. This is moral corruption for a man of God. He is a liar. He lies even to his own assistant that he has no house and he sleeps at the beach. But in the reality, he has a house somewhere in a jet settlement area, Chumeseri, in page 31. A no-be man of God, in sleep for beach weather, a lane of all cold, but that one too, no big lie. This man they get house and sleep there every night. He is a hypocrite prophet. Brother Jero has been preventing Chume from beating his wife, claiming that it is not the will of God. He is an exploiter. Brother Jero exploits his subjects through offering they play for him. This is a complete trade, and he calls his worshiper his customer. He is a womanizer, skate chaser. Brother Jero admits that his weakness is women. Chume called him uttered women thief. Another character, number 2, Chume, Amope's husband. He's a husband of Amope and usually quarrels with her. Brother Jero's assistant. He helps Brother Jero to administer on his church. He's the chief messenger. He's employed as a chief messenger. Her wife is not contented with her husband's job because it does not give him enough to support the family. He is a blind follower of Brother Jero. Chume is among the devoted followers of Brother Jero who are exploited and unawares. He thinks that Jero is a genuine man of God until he discovers the real man behind the mask. He is a leader of poor life. Chume is very poor, something that causes him troubles with his wife, who claims that he has better become a sanitary inspector. He can at least take bribes and buy a motorcycle than the bicycle he has. Also, he regretted by saying, I to go to my grave as the wife of a chief messenger. He is traditionalist who believes in women beating. Chume believes that women beating can be a solution of silence his wife Amope and stop her from abusing him. Another character, number 3, Amope. She is the wife of Chume. She unusually quarrels with her husband. She is a pet trader. She earns her living by engaging in pet trade, selling things including the velvet cape. She sold to Brother Jero for £1.08 and has not paid her. She is a very hard-working woman. She's a very hard-working woman and manages to prepare the food for her husband. She says, "You can't say I don't try. Hounded out of house by debtor, I still manage to make you a meal." Page 23. She's a brave and courageous. She's very courageous and has a firm stand. For example, she goes to camp at the house of Brother Jero until she is paid her man. However, when Chume forces her to get onto the bicycle so that they may leave, she refuses and says, "I won't get on that thing unless you kill me first." Page 26. She's abusive. She uses abusive language when taking people, like the fish seller. Her husband is her debtor. Brother Jero, for instance, abuses the trader. "Do you see what you have done? You spend-legged toads." Then she turns to the boy, drumming, "Take yourself off, you dead beggar. Do you think my man is for the like of you?" Page 9. She likes complaining. She complains too much almost in every situation and against everybody she encounters. She complains against her husband, against the fish sellers, against the drum boys, and against Brother Jero. Example, I don't know what the word is coming to. A chief of prophet, a sweeter of a fish seller, and now that thing with lights on his head comes begging for man. He and the prophet ought to get together with fish seller, their mother. Page 9. Another character is member of parliament. He's an MP. He's a senior member of the federal house. He's a power monger. We are told that he's a member of the federal house, a backbencher, but with one eye on a minister's post. He's a poor in speech making. He goes to Brother Jero every day to be taught the trick in speech making, but he never makes the speech. He's too scarce. He's ignorant. He's one of those Brother Jero cheated with false prophecies that their dreams would be fulfilled. Brother Jero prophesied that he would be appointed as a minister for war, and he believed him. Let us look them in this play, the trials of Brother Jero. The first thing in this play, betrayal. Betrayal has been portrayed in different scenarios. Number one, Brother Jero betrays the old prophet by chasing him away, while in the fact he is the one who trained him to become a prophet. Brother Jero drives him away after a clash over the land of the beach, where the latter established his church. Number two, Brother Jero has betrayed the Christianity faith and his followers by acting contrary to what is expected of prophet of God. He uses his position to exploit the ignorant mass, and he calls them his customers. Furthermore, he does things that are not moral contrary to the Christian faith in the name of religion, like being lustful for women. Number 4, Brother Jero betrays his closest assistant Chume. First, he does not tell him the truth about his real life. He has a house at a jet settlement area, and he keeps it a secret, complaining that he sleeps at the beach. Secondly, he allows Chume to go to beat his wife after realizing that she's the one he owes the man, saying it is the will of God, while he does so for his own interest. Number 4, Brother Jero has betrayed Amope. He bought a velvet cape from her, promising to pay for it, but it has been 3 months and the debt is not paid. Moreover, he keeps on avoiding her, sometimes showing that he is not willing to pay for that velvet cape. Another theme in this play, ignorance. The worshipper in this play, I portrayed as ignorant, as they trust Brother Jero as a man of God, but realizing the real man who has camouflaged himself behind the mask of Christianity. He uses that opportunity to exploit them, since they are not aware that he is just a womanizer, a liar, and an exploiter. He says, for example, I know they are dissatisfied because I keep them dissatisfied. Once they are full, they won't come again. page 11. Chuma represents those ignorant and blind followers of Brother Jero who don't know the true nature of the so-called prophet. He is self, Brother Jero, faithful and with indifference, and ends up becoming poorer and poorer as he has dedicated much of the time. The MP is also ignorant as he is cheated by Brother Jero that he had a prophet for him which showed that he would be appointed the Minister for War. Finally, ignorance is portrayed through the quarrels between Amope and the husband, and Amope against the fish trader. In both cases, the quarrel are started by minor things that are not strong enough to cause conflict. Another theme in this play, exploitation. Brother Jero is portrayed as a chief exploiter in this play, both as a priest and as an individual. In one case, he exploited Velvet Cape from her, promising to pay her, but it has been 3 months and no payment is done. This exploitation of the small-scale businesswoman. Another case, he uses his followers' ignorance of his true nature to exploit them moral and material. He fooled them that he has no house to live in, so that people give him money in terms of offering to God. This makes him refer to them as custom, and he takes his ministry as trade. He says, I'm glad I got her here before my customer. I mean worshippers, well customers, if you like. I always get the feeling every morning that I'm a shopkeeper waiting for customers. Another thing in this play, hypocrisy and charlatanism. Brother Jero is real wolf in sheep's clothing. He has camouflaged himself behind the mask of Christianity to the point that his followers cannot distinguish between the lead Jeroboam and the prophet Jero. He lies to his followers that he has no house and they believe him. He also tells them that he is a lead prophet of God, when in fact he is self-professed prophet, a liar and a womanizer. He deceived Amope that he has the money in the bank, while in reality he was looking for the way to escape. He then Chume the permission to beat his wife, claiming that it is against the will of God. But when he discovers that Amope, whom owes the money, is Chume's wife, he grants the permission, claiming it is the will of God. Brother Jero lies to Chume that the Son of God appeared to him and gave him a new name, title, Immaculate Jero, Articulate Jero of Christ Classed, which is not true. He also cheated the MP that he had professed for him being appointed the Minister of War. Another theme, misuse of religion, or the lies of false prophet. Brother Jero misused the Christian religion and used his position and the trust he has from the worshipper to exploit his followers and capitalized on the effort. The ignorant followers like Chume are so devoted to church service so much that they even forget to take care of their families. Also, Brother Jero is a hypocrite as a religious leader because he cheated people that he has no house, that he sleeps at the beach in order to win their sympathy and hide his identity. In a way, Soyinka has portrayed the big picture available in most African countries nowadays. False prophets are scattered everywhere, and many more are born every day, most of whom are trained in Nigeria. The playwright can't so speak from experience. They name their churches after sweet names that do not reflect their behavior. Nevertheless, the names used in this play are used satirically to criticize the prophet and the worshippers must conduct. The Brotherhood of Jero. The Brotherhood of Jero, the cherubims and seraphims, the Sister of Judgment Day, the heathen cowboys. Another theme, oppression. Amope is oppressed by Brother Jero, who take her velvet cape and refuse to clear debt. He causes the trouble to the woman to the point that she decides to camp at the veil. Amope is also oppressed by her husband, who threatens to beat her. Another theme, awareness. Soyinka finally his comment by showing that Chume become aware of the lead man behind the mask. He shows awareness in the following scenario. He discovers that Brother Jero is a lie, because he claims that he sleeps at the beach while he has a big house. He says that one no fool me anymore, and no be man of God. He say in sleep for beach, whether a rain or cold, but that one too, na big lie. That man get house and sleep there every night. Page 31. He discovered that Brother Jero allowed him to beat his wife for Brother Jero's convenience, claims that it is the will of God. Amope is aware that Brother Jero is a phony prophet. His encounter with Brother Jero has revealed to her that the lack of quality of a man of God, because he is a dishonest man. Let us look at the position and role of women in the society. Women occupied various positions and roles in this play. Soyinka's views them both positive and negative. Women are portrayed as hard worker and bread earners. Amope is a hard-working pet trader who works hard to put food on the table both for her and her husband. The fish trader is another case in point. She moves around selling fish so as to earn a living. Women are portrayed as more conscious than men. Amope represents women who are aware of what is going on in the society, while her husband is blind in following Brother Jero and believing him as a woman of God. She discovers the hypocrisy of Brother Jero before her husband does. Women portrayed as strong and courageous people. Amope represents strong and courageous women in the society. Being a woman is not a criterion for her to be looked down upon the men. She struck bravely against any man who crossed with her and defend her position. Women are portrayed as wicked people. Furthermore, in the play, women are viewed from another vantage point as people who are leading men to commit sin mentioned. Also, women portrayed as hard workers. Example, Amope, shown as hard worker and good advisor to her husband. Let us look the conflict revealed in this play, the trials of Brother Jero. Soyinka described different controversies that arise as a result of the kind of religion introduced in Africa, which brought both hope and disappointment. Those who were thought to be the men of God and the gospel, light bearers, have turned out to be the very worst. In ships crossing, Brother Jero is the main source of conflict in the play. Most of the conflict addressed in the play are personal conflict involves the following individual. Number one, conflict between Brother Jero and the old prophet. This conflict occurs as a result of quarrel over a piece of land at the beach, where the Brother Jero erected his church. He decided to chase away the old prophet, despite the fact that he is the one who trained Brother Jero as a prophet. Number two, conflict between Brother Jero and Amope. This conflict occurred because the money Brother Jero owed Amope, she has sold him a velvet cape for £1 and 8 shillings, but Brother Jero has been avoiding paying her, claiming that this money is in the bank. This caused a serious conflict between the two. Number three, the conflict between Amope and the trader. This occurs when Amope comments that her feet smell a bit. She gets angry and says that maybe it is Amope who has not bathed for a week. The two exchange hot potato and the fish trader decide to leave, avoiding the unnecessary quarrel. Number four, conflict between Chume and Amope. This conflict arises as a result of two major factors. One is from their personality trait. Amope is so hot-tempered that she evoked quarrels over just a meal. Each while Chume on his side seemed to be the church entered, ignoring to provide for his own family. Second, the poor stayed at home. Still, the conflict of the point where Amope regretted to have married a mere messenger and wished he had been at least a center inspector, for it is a better job than a messenger. This caused a serious conflict. Number five, conflict among the prophets. The prophets are quarreling over a piece of land where to establish their churches. The conflict involves the brotherhood of Jero, cherubims, seraphims, the feast of Judgment Day, and the heathen cowboys. The conflict is so intense to the point that the town council had to intervene and divide the land peacefully among the prophets. Let us look at the message of the play, the trials of Brother Jero. Number one, we should be careful with misuse or false prophets. They are scattered everywhere, and they are interested in not spreading the word of God, but enriching themselves through the worship offering. Number two, we should not be hypocrites, as it leads to dishonest practice. Brother Jero is a hypocrite, so he does make dishonest practice in the society. Number three, wife beating is not the best solution to solve a family conflict. It is better for the concerned parties to sit down, sort out issues, and arrive at common consensus that benefits both sides. Number four, ignorance is a motivating factor. For exploitation, people should be aware of what is going on in the society to avoid being exploited blindly. Number five, betrayal is not good in our society. It is better to be hunted for what you are than to be loved for what you are not. Let us look at the last part, relevance of the play. Wole Soyinka successfully addressed the problem that is in most African countries now, especially in his own home country, Nigeria. So, it was published in the early 1964. It is very relevant to the contemporary social, political, and religious situation in Nigeria and Africa in general. The choice of two characters was determined by their love. As protagonist, Jero as a character and antagonist Chume as a victim. Number one, there are many churches, ministers, and faith groups emerging everywhere in Africa by people who self-profess to be prophet of God. Number two, the conflict among the prophets over the land and the followers is the order of the day. They preach against each other's weakness instead of against the devil. Number three, there are many politicians who go to prophets for prayers, for promotion. In this place, the MP does not go to the church to genuinely worship God, but he does so because he has a dream of being appointed a minister. And he wants to achieve his dream, sought miraculous prayers. Dear listener, that is the end of play analysis, the trials of Brother Jero. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment below this video. My name is Teacher Kaligo Dotto Njige, or Teacher Kadonji, the mind of literature, the young African writer. Thank you for listening from the beginning up to the end of this play analysis, the trials of Brother Jero. My phone number 0676861579. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.